Heyo, and what is up, gang? Thank you for checking out Sledgehammer TV tonight. The Empress of Tomorrow becomes the champion of today as the WWE's pay-per-view calendar finishes off 2018 with TLC, and we are here to bring the hammer down on it. My name is Nick Nightmare, and you are watching the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show's TLC 2018 review and reaction show right here on Sledgehammer TV. Let's do it.
The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
All right, wrestling fans, thank you so much for joining me. If you are coming to this channel and you are going to tell me that those women did not deserve to be in the main event of tonight's TLC pay-per-view, I'm here to tell you that you are out of your mind. What an amazing main event was put forth to us by Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, and the new SmackDown Live Women's Champion, the Empress of Tomorrow, the Great Asuka. What a tremendous ending to a pretty lackluster pay-per-view, if we're being honest. It had a couple of gems, but for the most part, TLC pretty much put me to sleep. And I think part of the reason for that is because the WWE's decision in how they made the match order for this card. Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins not only nearly bored me to sleep, but definitely took a toll on the live crowd in San Jose, California tonight, as they were about as disinterested in this match as I was. One of the reasons for that is because they placed it between a fantastic SmackDown Live championship match between AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan, and then a fantastic SmackDown Live Women's Championship TLC match, which everybody's been waiting for all night long. It's almost as if the fans were just tired of seeing everything else and just wanted to get to the reason why we all pretty much tuned in tonight, which was to see this triple threat match between these women tonight. Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins' match just needed a little extra something. All it needed was to be a TLC match or a ladder match, but they did not do that. Instead, they decided to waste the ladder match stipulation in a bullshit match with Bobby Lashley, the human walking milk dud, and Elias in a dead feud that has gone nowhere, and they put the ladder in this match as a stipulation to replace the pole, because Vince McMahon doesn't like poles in his corner, apparently. So he's going to suspend the guitar from the top of the arena, and you got to go up there and retrieve the guitar. Now, originally the stipulation was you retrieve the guitar and you can use it in the match, which is the stipulations that are always set forward in an on-the-pole type match. But then they decided to make it, if you get the guitar down, you win, which is the basic rules and regulations of a standard ladder match. The match was short. It was pushed to the pre-show. We had a fucking ladder match on a pre-show. That was terrible. If the ladder match was placed in the Intercontinental Championship match where it belongs, like we've said multiple times this past week in our preview and on Monday Night Raw, ladder match and Intercontinental Championship are synonyms. And if you don't know what that is, pick up a book once in a while or go back to school, because that's a basic word and I'm not even going to tell you what it means because you should know what it means. But it's a basic fact. How many classic Intercontinental Championship ladder matches or tag team ladder matches, something like that, it brings a whole lot more to the feud, and this feud has been dead on arrival. They want to keep using Roman Reigns to try to keep people's interest, to try to get people to sympathize with Seth Rollins because he's doing it for Roman. Then he's going to smack Dean in the face, and then he's going to end up losing the match altogether. In a match that just put me to sleep. I didn't give two shits about Dean Ambrose and what color furry coat jacket he's going to wear today. What, is he going to wear a new coat every week? As long as it's got fur on the collar, because you know I'm a lunatic, I need to feel the fuzz on my neck. Get out of here with that match. And it's a shame, because Seth Rollins is probably the best guy on Monday Night Raw. But what this all goes to show you, everything Raw put on this show tonight was garbage. Garbage, with the exception and I can't even believe I'm going to say this, with the exception of Ronda Rousey and Nia Jax. You want to talk about something that took me by surprise? This was definitely it. Ronda Rousey showed a level of improvement and a level of maturity in the ring that I would never have guessed she would have gotten to by now. Her progression has gotten a little bit faster, and it can be proven in a match with somebody that can't wrestle worth a damn like Nia Jax, who came out tonight looking very good against Ronda Rousey. And Rousey herself looked like she's been doing this for a while, looks like she's getting it, and that was a great match. It was high impact. These girls weren't holding back, and it was organized and designed very well to get both women to look absolutely great. I don't have much to complain about as far as Ronda Rousey's match with Nia Jax. I do not enjoy the fact that she got involved in the SmackDown Live Women's title match tonight, but it makes sense. It's going to be a very key point in the story that they are going to tell leading us into WrestleMania. Are we going to get a triple threat between Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania? I'm not really on board with that because I have a feeling that the WWE will put Charlotte Flair or Ronda Rousey above Becky Lynch when, after tonight, how can you put anybody above Becky Lynch? You just listen to that crowd reaction. You see how this girl went out there. She pulled off some of the best spots of the night. And it was a fantastic showing for all three girls. These were the matches that I enjoyed tonight. AJ and Daniel, and Ronda and Nia Jax, the Tag Team Championship Triple Threat match from SmackDown Live. The Cruiserweight Championship was fantastic, but of course, we had to push that to the pre-show as well, and everything else just didn't need to happen. Didn't care for much of anything else that went on. The Mixed Match Challenge Finals being the match to open this show is absolutely ridiculous. If there was any match on this card that needed to be on the pre-show, it was that. The fact that the winners are getting a number 30 entry into the Royal Rumble does not give it precedent over something like the 205 Live Cruiserweight Championship. It doesn't. Especially when you want to take into consideration the 4 individuals that were involved in that match. And what did that match amount to anyway? You got something as prestigious as the number 30 entry in the Royal Rumble being decided in this match, and you want to make this match about fucking dance break, and you're going to have the sing midgets coming in there doing their little Bollywood bullshit. That's not what I want to see. That was not the way to kick this show off. Should have put Ambrose and Rollins at the beginning of the show to get everybody hyped. Everybody would have been able to get into the match then because they wouldn't have been worn out from everything else you threw at us the 3 hours prior to getting to the Intercontinental Championship matchup. And God forbid the SmackDown Live World Heavyweight Championship is placed high on the card, higher than the Intercontinental Championship. I normally would say that I would have loved to have seen it close the show, and we did have a great match to close the show, but what could have possibly followed what these girls did in that TLC match at the end of the night? It was a championship match, so I don't have too much to say about them closing the show, especially when it came out so well. How can you complain? It's hard to complain about that. There's plenty of stuff to bring the hammer down on, and we are going to get started doing that right now. The first thing we got to bring the hammer down on is Buddy Murphy and Cedric Alexander being pushed to the pre-show, as we just mentioned a minute ago. It's a travesty. These guys went out there at Survivor Series and they killed it. They killed it. Did the WWE not think they were going to get the same quality type matchup out of Buddy Murphy and Cedric Alexander? This match was great. Buddy Murphy continues to prove with each performance that he is the premier athlete on that brand. Cedric Alexander in his performance tonight continues to show why he deserves to be a top contender, as he brought Buddy Murphy to the limit, and we saw some fast-paced, high-intensity action, flipping and punching and everything you would expect from the Cruiserweight division, but done smart, done professionally, and just crafted so well. The whole entire matchup from beginning to end went almost 20 minutes, and they did great. What wasn't great was following it up with the ladder match on the pre-show. In a spot that was reserved primarily for the Mixed Match Challenge match, in my mind, we get Elias and Bobby Trashley, the old milk dud, in this ridiculous guitar on a pole / ladder match. where Leo Rush is going to get involved. This whole match lasted about maybe 6 or 7 minutes. It was an absolute waste of a stipulation. This was a waste of everybody's time. Nobody wants to see boring Trashley. Nobody cares about Elias when he's against Bobby Lashley. And even though Elias would get the win, he still comes out looking like a schmuck because he's the one that gets assaulted with the guitar in the end. He's the one laying out there looking like a chump in the end, all to put over the human milk dud, Bobby Lashley. And I'm not with it. Oh, by the way, Buddy Murphy is still your Cruiserweight champion. In case I forgot to mention, Buddy Murphy did get the win and is still on top of the Cruiserweight division. Elias got the win, like I said, but Bobby Lashley is the one ending up standing tall, which means this is not over, which means I do not care. And when we get back to it tomorrow night and continue on this path that I could care less about, I'm going to continue to not care about it. The show officially kicks off with R-Truth and Carmella versus Jinder Mahal and Alicia Fox. And this match just wasn't even a match. This wasn't even a match. It was bullshit, and I did not care. In the end of it, Carmella got Alicia Fox to tap out to that move she does, which I'm forgetting at the moment, nor do I care to remember right now. And let's analyze what's about to happen here, people. Carmella now is the cement concrete lock for the number 30 entry in the Women's Royal Rumble. Do you think for 1 minute there's one of two things that's going to happen, right? And I want to know which one you think is the more likely of the two scenarios. R-Truth, leading up to or at the Royal Rumble event itself, is going to get his ass beat in the back to the point where he can't compete, and then we will be able to have some sort of a surprise like we're used to at the end of the Royal Rumble, which I would not be opposed to, as although it is going to make R-Truth look like a schmuck. But it could actually set up something in 2019 for R-Truth. Whoever it is that perpetrates this attack could be R-Truth's feud leading into WrestleMania season, where he could have some fun, although he will not probably gain the momentum going into WrestleMania. He can have a nice little run, and it'll mean something because he will want to get vengeance for losing his spot in the Royal Rumble. But to me, the more likely scenario of the two is the Men's Royal Rumble will go first once again, and the number 30 number will be called, and the bell will sound, and nobody's going to show up. R-Truth's not going to come out. We're not going to see him beaten up in the back. He's just not going to be there. He's not going to come out. And nobody's going to come out at the number 30 spot. And for the first time ever, we will have no number 30 entry in the Royal Rumble. What has R-Truth been doing lately? He's absolutely off his rocker. I have a strong feeling R-Truth is going to try to be the number 30 entry in the Women's Royal Rumble. Remember how he wanted to fight Carmella to get a shot at the SmackDown Live Championship? The guy's off his rocker. And that's just reeks of WWE trying to be funny, WWE trying to be creative, and simultaneously tainting both Royal Rumbles. Because the number 30 is going to go off at the Women's Royal Rumble, and Carmella's music is going to hit, and R-Truth's going to come out with her, and they're going to be singing, "What's up? What's up?" Right? And then R-Truth's going to try to get in the match. And it's just going to be chaos. That's all I could see coming out of this. The only positive about this matchup existing at all is that Jinder Mahal nor Alicia Fox will be the 30th entry in either Royal Rumble, but that doesn't mean they are not going to be in the Royal Rumble altogether. So what did they really lose? Nothing. A phony advantage that barely even exists anymore. How many people truly have ever won from the number 30 spot? I forget what the number is, but I'm sure it's pretty low. Braun Strowman versus Baron Corbin. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm skipping one. Let's not skip. Let's go in order, everybody. We had the SmackDown Live Championship for the tag team division decided in a great triple threat match between three great tag teams. Are you surprised? I'm not surprised. These are 6 great athletes, 3 great teams, all with a very good pedigree and a championship history behind them. Why wouldn't they pull off a great match like this? But now take this match and imagine how great it would have been if this was a TLC match for the Tag Team Championships and not just a straightforward match. I would have enjoyed that more instead of what we would get with Braun Strowman and Baron Corbin with a TLC match. Just fucking ridiculousness. It could have been applied to this scenario and this match would have been even better than it was. But I don't have that much to say negative about this match. It had a decent amount of time. All the teams looked great. And the Bar won. I didn't predict that. I thought the Usos were going to come out and win, but I can appreciate if they are going to establish a long title reign for a team like the Bar. And now that they beat the two top teams in the division besides themselves at the same time, the WWE is almost forcing their own hand. They have to give them new people to fight. They have to give them fresh meat. Enter a team like Sanity or Gallows and Anderson versus the Bar. These are things we haven't seen so much lately. These are things I can get behind. If you want to start seriously pushing the Colognes, giving them a unified gimmick, get them over with the crowd. Get us invested in them. We didn't give two shits when they were the Matadors. We didn't give two shits when they were selling timeshares, but you could do something with them. You just got to make it compelling and get it to us in a way that we want to take it. Make them interesting. Give them something more along the lines of a Los Guerreros. Something to get people talking. Something to get people interested. Or at the very least, start making new teams. Start calling up some more teams from NXT and showcase them. And build your tag team division. And give these guys fresh meat to fight. Because what more can these three teams do against each other following a great match like they had tonight? We gotta go in a different direction from here forward. At least that's what I'm hoping. But this is the WWE we're talking about. So direction, not really that straight. It's always, zigzagging left and right, and then they're going to show all their ideas to the big man, Vinnie Mac, and he's going to go, ha ha ha, no, I'm going to rewrite this script from start to finish in the next 10 minutes because we're going on the air in 5. That's my thought process of what actually goes on in the production meetings following, or leading into, rather, a WWE event where that man is in charge. But this was a great, great tag team matchup, and the Bar remains our tag team champions. Braun Strowman and Baron Corbin. Let me go back to this pose, as I hit it before and then remembered the goodness that I had to enjoy, and now there was more of this. Now, I know some of you guys and some people are going to be like, this was good. We had a GM running rampant on Raw. He had his comeuppance tonight. We had Braun Strowman come out. We had this TLC angle stipulation in the match, so there's no disqualification. Strowman comes out still sporting the sling. So I'm not expecting him to get involved. When I see him come out, I had a feeling he was going to pull some sort of shenanigans, which he did. But the shenanigans he pulled was kind of silly. And I didn't think this was something that should have been done on a pay-per-view. This is something that should have been done tomorrow night on Raw. This whole match that was happening tonight for the general managership for Baron Corbin shouldn't have been happening at all. This is a terrible use of both of these men, and the only good coming out of this is the fact that Baron Corbin did not win, so he is no longer the general manager erect, because he's a giant penis. But I don't really care where it's going. What reason now do you think Vince McMahon is coming to Monday Night Raw tomorrow night? He's going to assign a new GM. He's going to publicly fire Baron Corbin, which is going to get everybody all excited. Then he's either going to bring us back Kurt Angle, or there's going to be some sort of a new surprise. It's time to shake things up again. And unless he announces a draft, no matter what general manager you bring in, I could care less, because I'm so tired of seeing general managers. Whoever it is going to dominate the show as far as the creative standpoint has been going on Monday Night Raw lately. And whether it's Baron Corbin or Stephanie McMahon or a Shane McMahon or anybody, even if they brought in Hollywood Hogan, I don't want to see that kind of shit anymore. Let's just have straightforward wrestling matches. How often do we see William Regal in NXT? He only comes out when it's absolutely necessary. He's not the dictator and the master of ceremonies of every single episode of NXT, and that's the type of thing we need to start seeing on the main roster. And that's a direction in which we might be able to go, but that all depends on tomorrow night. And all I can think of is tomorrow night he's going to fire Baron Corbin. What else can he do? I don't know, but it better be good. Because tonight, this whole Baron Corbin versus Braun Strowman match was just a joke. It was ridiculous. You had the Glorious Gables come out. Everybody got a little piece of the pie, right? Apollo Crews got a little piece of them. Who cares? Who cares? Absolutely stupid. I didn't dig it. Like I said, only happy that Corbin lost. Other than that, worthless. Heath Slater is the referee. I don't care. Finn Balor getting involved. I don't care. Overbooked. I would have much rather them had the lights go out and debut a new Bray Wyatt in place of Braun Strowman and have him decimate Baron Corbin and then do what you want to do with Vince tomorrow night. At least we could have been on a new, different direction with a new face. But no, we got to see all these same old bullshit people on Monday Night Raw that tomorrow night, they'll be lucky if they're even on the show. But tonight they had a big impact. We'll see what happens. Natalya versus Ruby Riott. Another match that I really didn't give two shits about. This was an overwritten match. The booking was okay. I mean, there was some good spots in it. You've seen Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan both go through tables. Ruby Riott with the Jim Neidhart table. Stupid. And then even stupider, Natalya wants to pull out a table with Ruby Riott printed on it. Why? You're going to put her through herself? How is that the same? How is that a measure of vengeance? She's putting on Jim the Anvil's jacket. Natalya puts Ruby Riott through a table, and then she's putting the sunglasses on. The broken sunglasses. The broken sunglasses that started this whole feud have magically been fused back together, apparently, and Natalya put them on in celebration of her victory tonight. Who cares? Did you give a shit? I didn't. Ruby Riott looked great in this matchup, but I knew she was going to lose. It was predictable, and I just want them to go away from this whole thing because I'm tired of it. Natty defeats Ruby Riott in the tables match. I would be shocked if you cared. Finn Balor versus Drew McIntyre. Again, I don't care. This match was there just to be there. And then you want Finn Balor versus Drew McIntyre to be decided by an interfering Dolph Ziggler. Now, this is where this confuses the shit out of me. Dolph Ziggler apparently turned babyface, but now tonight, he's not a babyface anymore. He comes out of nowhere. He kicks Drew McIntyre in the face, right? He helps Finn Balor get the win tonight over Drew McIntyre, and then shows up in the back and starts some shit with Finn Balor. Throwing Finn Balor into the equipment crates. Acting all like a heel again. What has he got? Big Show disease? 1 week to the next, he's going to keep fucking changing? Drew McIntyre, I thought, was going to be the heel. Going forward from here, I thought we were going to see Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre in some sort of a rival mode. You know, some sort of a rivalry built between the two of them. But that's not what we got. We got Dolph Ziggler being moved over to fight Finn Balor tomorrow night. And here's an interesting side note. If Baron Corbin is no longer the GM, who the fuck made that match? Anybody? You want to tell me who did that? Was it Stephanie? Was she watching? Did she call up and say, book that match for tomorrow night? I don't understand. I'm not an idiot. Like I said, the order of these things sometimes make no sense. If you would have had the McIntyre-Balor match before the Corbin-Strowman TLC general managership match, then that would make sense, because at least Baron Corbin was still the GM at the time when he made the match. But now there is nobody in control of Raw. Michael Cole went out of his way to say it tonight. But yet there's matches being made. Who's making these matches? The board? The WWE Board of Directors? Come on, you got to be better than that. You're the best you're the best, I was going to say the best WWE in the world. You are the best wrestling company in the world. By your own standards. Not by our standards. And this is the best you got? Terrible. Finn Balor defeats Drew McIntyre thanks to the help of Dolph Ziggler. Rey Mysterio versus Randy Orton in a chairs match. Every year at the TLC pay-per-view, we complain about the chairs match. It's a match that I wish would die 1,000 deaths and never come back. There is no reason to have a match that specifies the chair as the only weapon. This would have been better off just being called a no DQ match, and let these guys use whatever the fuck they want. You know a chair would be involved eventually. Oh, the show's called Tables, Ladders, and Chairs, so we have to have a tables match, we have to have a ladders match, and a chairs match. No, we don't need a fucking chairs match. You don't need one of each match type on this pay-per-view. What you need is one or two solid TLC matchups, and then the rest of the match could, the rest of the card rather, could just feature regular matchups. This pay-per-view had too many stipulated matches. And the ones that did have the stipulations, more often than not, were the wrong ones. Which is really one of the things that brought the quality down of this card. Rey Mysterio and Randy Orton, star power or not, this match was stupid. There was one good spot that Rey Mysterio hit, and the rest of it was just boring. The chairs are terrible. Terrible to be used in the same vein as a ladder or a table. Oh, he set up the chair in the corner. What do you think's going to happen? He's going to throw him into it, and his head's going to go into it. Great. We've seen it a million times. One interesting thing was when they set up the chairs 4 or 5, like they were going to start playing musical chairs, and then Ray did this little walkover thing. That was about it. Everything else in this match was useless. The crowd seemed to be into it. I don't understand why. They were probably just excited to see Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio gets the win over Randy Orton in surprising fashion and then runs for the hills. Got the fuck out of that ring as quick as he possibly could because he knew Randy was going to continue. He was absolutely livid that Rey was able to get him in a victory roll for the pin at the very last second to his surprise, but it almost is what needed to happen. Randy Orton isn't going to be damaged by this loss in any way, especially since it came by surprise in a very babyface manner. And Rey Mysterio gets a nice big win over an established star, recreating his momentum going forward. But the match was just dreadful. And it was no fault of the guys. It was all the fault of the stipulation that they were forced to sandwich this match into. Ronda Rousey versus Nia Jax for the Raw Women's Championship. Like I said, was surprisingly good. It shocked the hell out of me. Ronda Rousey was selling very well. Nia Jax was selling very well. They had a lot of good chemistry on this night. Ronda Rousey doing some crazy flippy shit, getting up on Nia Jax's shoulder and then ended up doing like Rey Mysterio-like things, twisting on her head, trying to give her sunset flips. She gave her a power bomb from the second rope. It was amazing. It was the best match that I've seen Ronda Rousey have. It's actually the best match I've seen Nia Jax have in the longest time. These two make pretty good opponents. And even though Ronda's new, she's picked up on it very well. She's gotten the hang of this thing like we were talking about earlier in the broadcast. And I very much enjoyed this match. I thought it was very good. And if you could do that, and if you can give me better than I expect, then I'm going to give you the credit that you deserve. Her makeup game was trash, as always. Ronda Rousey with the white face. It's a big, like, light blue or bright white eyeliner. I'm telling you, man, it's almost as if the WWE Creative Glam Squad, or whatever it is, just wants to embarrass Ronda Rousey in her appearance alone. She's still wearing the lip hugger things, and she's got to keep pulling her shorts down throughout the entirety of the match because it's going right up her... Get your gears straight, honey. I did like her head game with those little, like, weapons all in her head. I don't know how you even do that. How do you have the patience to sit there while somebody does that? And it's gotta hurt like hell. I mean, I've never gotten those kind of braids before, but I'm sure they hurt. But they were that was nice. I liked the way that looked. But, man, this girl's makeup game on pay-per-views. Keep that fucking team of goons away from her. Let her just go out au natural. She's a beautiful girl. Stop making her look like a clown. She's the Raw Women's Champion. Sometimes less is more. Like I said, this was a very good match. Ronda Rousey is still our Raw Women's Champion, much to the surprise of no one. And on we go. Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles for the WWE title. What a beautifully crafted, well-planned out match. This is a wrestling match if I've ever seen one. Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles, now with this new Daniel Bryan, are almost made for each other. These guys are perfect opponents in the ring. They were going move for move. They were reversing each other almost at a constant point at one time. Daniel Bryan with this vicious vegan villain. He's got this new title belt that's made out of a vegan alternative to leather. What is a vegan alternative to leather, you might ask? Well, I did you guys a favor and I went and looked up some of the possible things that the WWE title could be made of right now into the possession of Daniel Bryan. There's hemp. We could have a hemp championship, which all that tells me is somebody grabbed the lighter and sparked that shit up. Let's get everybody in this room feeling good. Light up that hemp belt, baby. It could be made of pineapple leaves. Pineapple leaves are a very common substitute for leather. It's called pinacha or some shit with a Z. Pinacha. I can't pronounce it. I don't know. All I know is we could have a pineapple belt. Maybe it smells all fruity and delicious and it's making Daniel Bryan feel better about himself and the earth. It could be made of mushrooms. Did you know that there's fucking mushroom leather? I didn't know that, but I hope that's not what it's going to be, because Daniel Bryan's going to start eating the fucking belt because it's made of mushrooms. It's all natural. You could take it and eat it. These are some of the possible things that could be used to create Daniel Bryan's new championship. It could also be made of corkboard, which nobody wants to eat. We got our corkboard over here. It's not going to be digestible. You know, you don't want to try to eat it. You don't want to burn it. You don't want to smoke it. It's a natural thing, but you don't want to do anything to cork. I don't even think cork would feel nice, even if they made it feel like leather. I'm getting a little bit off topic because this is the kind of thing that drives me crazy. It's great. It's great. It's a great thing for the character of Daniel Bryan. He's going to have this belt with this vegan leather, and I dig it. I get it. But wow, those are some crazy choices, right? Anyway, let's get back to the matchup. This match was absolutely tremendous. The Yes Movement is dead, and I couldn't be more happy about it because the new Daniel Bryan is just a force to be reckoned with, and this was a great match. And it was finished on a very simple maneuver. AJ Styles wrapped up Daniel Bryan in a small package. Daniel Bryan would reverse that small package and get the win. Once again, a very surprising, out-of-nowhere type victory caught AJ Styles by surprise, and I'm sure that we are nowhere near done on this road with these two. This was such a good match that the next match just absolutely had no chance of succeeding unless it was given some sort of a gimmick. But that's not what happened, as Seth Rollins took on Dean Ambrose for the Intercontinental Championship, and I didn't give two shits, man. I didn't. The only thing that I cared about was Dean Ambrose actually won this matchup, and that's not a down thing for me. I think Seth Rollins' time with the Intercontinental Championship is over. It's time for him to be moved on to bigger and better things, and Dean Ambrose should have that Intercontinental Championship now and defend it against everybody and anybody besides Seth Rollins. But being that Roman Reigns is still a huge part of this story and is still Vince McMahon's favorite topic, I'm sure, this has not even begun just yet. I think he thinks he has the makings of a new classic rivalry like The Rock and Austin. But that is not the case. I'm tired of this whole former Shield brothers, let's do it for Roman, and let's not do it for Roman, and Roman deserves what he's got, and all this fucking stupidity, when all they should be fighting about is the Intercontinental Championship, and whatever true personal demons they have between each other, brotherhoods, and stabbing in the backs, and whatnot. But this match was too long, it had some decent action, I just really didn't care. And I even put it out on social media. If you're not following me on Twitter, it's @NickNightmare. All you got to do is find me there. And you would have seen tonight as I was live tweeting through the show. I didn't understand. And I asked everybody, why don't I care about this match? Why? I don't think there is anything they could have done to make me give two shits about what those two guys were doing. Because much like most of the people in the San Jose audience, I was patiently waiting for the man to take on the Queen and the Empress in the triple threat match heard round the world. TLC 2018 shining moment, where Charlotte Flair broke out of her shell and became a vicious, brutal just crazy, crazy version of Charlotte Flair. Becky Lynch, the most consistent performer all year in the women's division on SmackDown Live, doing what she does best, and that's bringing the hammer down herself on the women's division. And even in a loss, Becky Lynch was the all-star of this matchup. These girls did not hold anything back. The kendo stick shots were vicious. They threw each other into multiple tables, using the ladders, getting at each other every which way they could. So much intensity, so much fire from each one of them. You could tell in their performance, it was portrayed through the screen just how much each one of these girls wanted to win this matchup. The involvement of Ronda Rousey towards the end, though it does make sense from a storytelling point of view, I was not happy with it because the match was just so good up until that point that I feel like it just slightly taints Asuka's victory just a little bit. I feel like it would have been better if Becky and Charlotte would have just beat the shit out of each other until neither one of them could do anything anymore, which would have left the opportunity for Asuka to go up there and grab the SmackDown Live Women's Championship, win the match, and then go off the air with Ronda Rousey coming down to the ring and attacking both Charlotte and Becky, getting her little measure of revenge as she made a hint at earlier in tonight's TLC program in a little interview with Charlie Caruso, calling herself the baddest bitch on the planet. Payback's a bitch, and I'm the biggest one. So now I kind of had a feeling she was going to do something at the end of the night, but I didn't think she was going to be a factor in the outcome of this matchup. And that is what happened, and it didn't ruin it. I just didn't care for it. I thought it would have been better had she waited for the match to conclude and then just go out there and wreak havoc. This is interesting on very many fronts because you have the Raw Women's Champion getting involved in a feud with two girls from SmackDown Live. And now you have those two girls removed from the championship picture, at least for the time being, as Asuka begins her first reign as the WWE SmackDown Live Women's Champion. And I have a feeling that that triple threat's going to go through, and I don't know who they'll give to Asuka. Possibly Kairi Sane maybe makes her debut. Maybe there's an open challenge at some point and Kairi Sane comes back up to the roster. I don't know. I'm reaching there because I can't imagine who's going to be next in line for Asuka to fight. Maybe she gives a championship opportunity to her dancing buddy Naomi. I don't know what they're going to do with Asuka from this moment on, because all of their eggs are in the basket of Becky and Charlotte and Ronda. So it'll be an interesting road forward for them that way. On the Raw side of things, what is Ronda Rousey going to do in the meantime? I certainly hope it has nothing to do with Tamina Snuka. There was a lot of awkward glances back and forth to each other, and now that Ronda Rousey has defeated Nia Jax, where else is there for her to go? Who else is there for her to fight? Well, somebody's going to want to get vengeance for her cousin, I would think, and we're going to see Tamina versus Ronda at some point down the road, maybe in a longer feud than needs to be, but I'm just speculating at this point because all I want to do right now is get to the Royal Rumble and see how WrestleMania is going to start to shape up. Usually they disappoint the shit out of us, and we all know WrestleMania at this point in our lives is an overblown, overbooked, overhyped, pretty much just look at us and love us fest that they don't put too much thought and effort into. They just like to throw money at it and get big sets and big elaborate entrances. That's what WrestleMania is all about to Vinnie Mac and company. But I would like a decent WrestleMania season for once, at least in the last couple of years. 2019 almost has no choice but to be better than 2018, and I am glad that this year's pay-per-view schedule has finally come to an end. It came to an end in a big way as something we've been waiting for all year long finally went down with the coronation of Asuka as the Women's Champion of SmackDown Live. And the road forward is a cloudy one. It's very clear, but we'll get through it together as we always do. TLC was great, you guys, for the most part. For the most part. If you want to give me 4 or 5 matches that I can walk away from and say, wow, those were great matches, then I'm going to give this pay-per-view like a 50-50 sort of level. But you cannot deny what you saw tonight. There was some tremendous action tonight. You got to give props to the Cruiserweight Championship, the SmackDown Live All of SmackDown Live's matches were fucking great tonight. The Mixed Match Challenge didn't need to happen here tonight anyway, but, you know, that's a big stain on this one. Just like Randy and Ray and Seth and Dean and Drew and Finn, there is almost a 50-50 bad to good ratio on this show. So I wouldn't pass this show at 50%. If you're going to do pass-fail, it's still pretty much a fail. But it gets extra credit, and it gets bonus points for the quality of some of the matches on tonight's TLC pay-per-view. Thank you guys so much for joining me once again on this TLC weekend as we get set for the holiday season coming up upon us. We got Monday Night Raw this week, probably the last live Monday Night Raw of the year until next year, where Raw will be on next week, when Raw will actually be on Christmas Eve, which is going to be interesting for everybody. I don't know if I'm going to do it that night, but I will keep you guys updated on what we are going to do during the holiday season so that you guys don't miss a thing on your favorite channel on YouTube, the Sledgehammer TV YouTube channel, home of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. And this guy, who is this guy? This guy is Nick Nightmare. This is my team, Thor the Sledgehammer, the wrestling god of thunder, and the official Sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. His tag team partner, the world heavyweight champion of all the microphones in all the world, Mr. Blue the Snowball. I want to thank everybody who has subscribed over this last week. We had a nice big influx of new subscribers, and if you have yet to do so, this would be your chance to join the Sledgehammer Club and become a part of the family we are growing here. I have 1,000 plus brothers and sisters in the Sledgehammer Club, and I want you to be my next one. So hit that subscribe button right now if you enjoyed tonight's review of the TLC pay-per-view. If you missed the preview and predictions, you can go check that out. That was a great show, and all of my Monday night and Tuesday night reviews are always not to be missed, and in order to not miss them, you got to ring that notification bell next to that subscribe button so that they will keep you notified every single time an awesome video just like this one gets dropped. And now, right now, on this and every video you guys decide to watch, smash that thumbs up. If you had a great time tonight, if you enjoy what I had to say, if you agree with what I had to say, if you disagree with what I have to say, let me know what you think in the comments section. Either way, don't forget to light it up. I love to hear what all my Sledgehead brother and sisters have to say, and it's one of the most anticipated things for me after I drop one of these reviews. So I hope you guys had a good time here with me tonight, and then leave that comment, smash that like button, and as always, if you haven't yet, subscribe. Because I need more brothers and sisters, man. And you look like a good one. Obviously, you're smart. You sat here and listened to my whole thing for the last 40 plus minutes. You're a smart person. Smart people live right here on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. As always, this review is brought to you guys by Audible books that speak to you because you're too lazy to go out and grab a fucking book and actually read it. And that's alright with me because I do the same thing. And you could do that for free for the next 30 days and get one audiobook download if you go to audibletrial.com/sledgehammertv today. Choose from over 180,000 titles, some wrestling related, some not. Whatever your niche is or you decide to listen to, it's going to be there. Even if you want to brush up on some Espanol, maybe you want to learn another language, maybe you want to read some good Star Wars fiction, maybe you want to read some good biographies, Audible has got you covered. Free audiobook and 30-day free trial just for being fans of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. That's audibletrial.com/sledgehammertv. Once again, that's audibletrial.com/sledgehammertv. Thank you guys so much once again, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all week long, and I am going to fill you guys in at some point on just how crazy Saturday was for me, as it was my first day as a member of the House of Glory family, and it was a 14-hour marathon day of wrestling madness, and I will be bringing that news to you guys very, very shortly. I'm going to try to get a HOG review up as soon as possible. We got Monday Night Raw, we got Tuesday SmackDown, so maybe Wednesday, maybe as a little special Christmas gift, Christmas weekend before the holidays, so that you don't miss your old buddy here on Sledgehammer TV. That, my friends, is going to do it. And we are out of here. And we will see you next time right here on your new favorite wrestling show, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, right here on Sledgehammer TV.